We got a new Splatoon 3 Direct a few days ago, and oh boy, does it have lots of information to unpack. I'll be trying to analyze most of the important details we got in the Direct in order to get a better understanding of the game. The Direct starts off with a recap and explains the basics of the game, but we do see one Octoling doing some sort of emote on a playable stage. We're going to come back to that detail later on in the video. Anyways, the next important detail is how the bow looks like it has pretty good paint when tap shotting, so this weapon might not be as weak as we thought it would be. They also show up the Squid Surge, which has a charge up animation where you would be vulnerable for a bit before launching yourself upward, and the squid roll, which automatically turns you around when using it, and they do confirm that it has some sort of damage reduction when it has the glow. To me it sounds like ink armor when it's broken.
Have also been spotted.
They showed maps that we've seen already alongside some new maps like Hagglefish Market, which looks like a very narrow stage with a lot of uninkables and some rails. There are also more returning stages like Hammerhead Bridge, which finally finished construction so it doesn't have the grates anymore, and the Nils statue is also in the background of the stage, which is very interesting. Mahi Mahi is back. I am excited to be able to play on the stage, but some aspects of the stage are different, which makes it look smaller than the original. The rest of the maps that are going to be from Splatoon 2 are also good, just ignore Waffles. This puts us at a total of 12 stages that are going to be in the game at launch, which is pretty good. They also show us free DLC maps that are going to be added later on, which are Flounder Heights, but looks a lot shorter than the original, and a new stage that they are teasing us with. Next, we move on to the weapons. They already confirmed that all previous weapons will come back, but I can't help but look at the squeezer here and admiring its glory. They show the bow again here, and if we listen very closely, we can hear that after they shoot there is an explosion sound, which means the little cheese stick projectile is still in the game. I want to clear this up because a lot of people think that it was removed. And now there is a new weapon type, which are Spatanas. This weapon seems to have low paint but high mobility. It has a normal slash which does little damage and a charge slash which does more damage and has a little dash. Both of them can be used from long range but are far more potent up close, since the charge slash can one-shot people and even has a sound to indicate it. Back to the bow and the kit it has, which is the exact same kit from the last trailer, and it is missed with Killer Whale 5.1, and this time it seems like the Killer Whale does a bit more damage, but I'm not too sure. Now onto the Tacticooler, which is the new support special, which provides a huge buff in speed for running, swimming, using squid roll and surge, making them faster and more accurate when jumping out of them, and they gave it to Zap. But you'll have to grab the energy drink from the cooler to get the buff, so it's the complete opposite of armor. And now Wave Breaker, which is basically a colligator that sends waves to mark and damage people around it, but they could jump over it to avoid it. They gave this to Lita. And the Reef Slider, which looks like a cool special that can be used to approach people and pressure them. It looks like you can only use this to go forward, so you would need to use it properly for it to be effective. And it's very predictable since the enemy team can see where you're going and you might be exposed from the back. But it does have a large hitbox when exploding, so it should be good. They gave this to Tetras, which is pretty scary. They're also bringing back Tentamissiles, which are definitely not welcome in this game. Everyone hates it, but there are other specials which are Inkjet, Inkstorm, Stamp, and Booyah Bomb. But here it seems like Booyah Bomb paints very little if we ignore the explosions from the splatted players. We see the kit for the Spatana Wiper, which also reveals torpedoes back in the game. The Umbrella and Dualies, which have kits that are similar to their Splatoon 2 kits. We also see the kits for the Splattershot and the Roller, which didn't change since the last trailer. There is also a new way to obtain weapons, which are Sheldon licenses, which you can get by just leveling up or playing one weapon for a while until your freshness goes up. We also see that there is a catalog level here, which will be relevant later in this direct. Slusher still has the same kit, and Glugas have the K52 kit, which is just fantastic. But other than that, you can get weapons early by using multiple Sheldon licenses instead of having to level up, which is a welcome change. I don't really want to talk about the shops too much because they're very similar to the old shops, but the shop owners do look very cool, especially Mr. Coco. And oh, there's a new show ability called Intensify Action. This ability makes squid roll and surge better, similarly to Tacticooler. And on the Splatoon 3 website, They say you'll keep more momentum when performing consecutive squid rolls and charge up squid surge faster, and that it lessens the jump inaccuracy when using squid roll and surge, which means better RNG. And now merch. He's all grown up, so he finally knows how to change the main ability of gear for 45 chunks, and it only gives back 6 chunks. I wonder how that will work for unique gear exclusive abilities like Intensify Action. You can also upgrade the star power of the gear you have up to 5 stars, where you would get more XP for your gear instead of more ability slots. Gear also keeps getting more chunks even if you max out your ability slots according to the website. We see more weapon kits in the equip screen, and most of them are similar to the old weapon kits except for Splash, which got Crab Tank instead of Zipcaster. The other notable kits are the Aerospray kit, which confirms Fizzy's back and it has the Reef Slider alongside it, 96, which has a supportive kit with Sprinkler and Inkvac, Junior, which has the same support kit for the 3rd game in a row, Jet, which has a support kit that's not nearly as spammy as their Splatoon 2 counterparts, Sploosh, which got back Curling Bomb and Stamp, so I'm guessing it will be very good at launch, and finally Luna, which has an interesting kit with Splat Bomb and Zipcaster. Now saving gear will not be amiibo lock, which is very convenient. The lobby seems a lot better in this game since the rank system seems very similar to the X rank system with the points. This time it's called Anarchy Battle and still has all 4 modes that Splatoon has, except that Rainmaker now has checkpoints, which will improve the game mode by a lot in my opinion, and new UI that shows if you're holding the Rainmaker. In Clam Blitz, 8 clams are required to make a power clam instead of the usual 10. And there's also new UI here that shows how many clams each person is holding. There is an option to play Anarchy with friends now, which is pretty cool. The rankings start from C- and go up to S plus 50. So no more rank X, but there will be something later on to replace it, which are X battles. There are also private battles that look the same way they do in Splatoon 2, so you still have to add people in your friends list if they want to join your room. But fortunately for us, it looks like Nintendo will add keywords that can be used to join other players without them being in your friends list in a future update. The test range is also in the lobby. It looks much better and you can use it while looking for matches. And the ghosts feature looks like a pretty cool way to join and hang out with your friends. But there's something to the right that looks interesting that we don't really get to see in the testing range. It might be the practice dummy that they mention in the website, since it's shaped as a player. Let's move on to the lobby terminal now, which has a lot of things. The first thing we see is the Get Stuff button, which is probably there to order gear from people you played with. Then there is the View Replays button, which they show is used to view the replays of any of the last 50 battles. You can also save a limited amount of these replays. The Battle Stats button, which probably views the results of the last 50 battles you played and your average performance. The Replay Code button, which is probably where you put the code to view the replay of battles other players had. The Edit Splash Tags button, where you can edit your splash tag, more info on that later. The Change Name button, which is very convenient, so you can change your name in the game instead of changing your name on your Nintendo Switch account. And last but not least, the Splatfest region button, which is probably used to choose what region you are in for Splatfests. Then we see this gacha machine, which might be used to unlock some random unique things. And we enter the lockers room. It's nice having something you can create to your liking. Some of the things you can get to customize lockers are found in Hotlantis, which also has some gacha machines. So the gacha machine from earlier might give some bonuses related to customizing lockers. Here are the splash tags that we can edit from the lobby terminal, and it looks like they have a lot of customization options as well. And here we go. There are emotes in the game which happen when you win a battle, but we did see the Octoling from earlier emoting on a stage, so there might be a possibility that we can emote in battle. I really hope that we can do that. You get these emotes from the catalog, which brings us back to the catalog level, which is probably used to determine the items you can and can't get using the catalog. They will be releasing these catalogs every season, which is 3 months for an entire 2 years. There's now a new cards minigame. It doesn't look too interesting, but it's pretty cool to have nonetheless. Now, moving on to Salmon Run. It looks like they might have changed the specials here since the last update, because there used to be a Killer Whale 5.1 and Crab Tank, but now the 4 specials are Wave Breaker, Triple Strike, Inkjet and Reef Slider, but Crab Tank also appears later on in the direct. This might indicate that the specials constantly change in Salmon Run. There are 2 new bosses, which are the Salmon Lid, which is the big bubbler that's a UFO, which is cool, and the Big Shot, which shoots wave breaker shots. I must resist my urge to make a reference here. You can use the tennis ball machine thing that the Big Shot drops to launch your golden eggs in it. Then comes the new Extra Wave, which has a new type of boss called Kahazuna, which is one of the king salmonids, which means there might be other bosses, as they do hint at it in the direct.
This is one of the new king salmonids.
You can use your eggs to beat this boss, since the basket stays down after finishing the 3rd wave. The big run looks like an interesting event similar to Splatfest, so I'm excited to see what that is like. Playing in Salmon Run rewards you the usual stuff like money, gear, food and drink tickets, and chunks. You can also get catalog levels when playing, and if you clear the extra wave, you get different kinds of fish scales you can use to get special customization items. There is also a way to change your outfit in Salmon Run, and even a test range for it to test your egg throws or something like that. There's nothing too significant to say about story mode other than it has Splashdown as a single player thing only, and that looks like Octo expansion, where levels will have a certain clearing condition, like using Little Buddy or being locked to using one special only. And blasters have jump RNG here. Rest in peace. Mailboxes have vertical posts now, Krusty Sean is gone, and there is now just a generic staff goldfish that we see all around the city. The show is back. Photos are now not locked to Amiibo, and you can use the photos you take in your locker. Yay. Recon mode is now no longer locked by rotation and lasts for 60 minutes. I'll skip over the Splatoon 3 and Amiibo features since they are pretty similar to Splatoon 2. Let's go back to Rainmaker. Here we see that there could be multiple checkpoints in Rainmaker, which means you would need to choose which path you want to proceed with. The Rainmaker can also get buffed from the Tacticooler. X Battles, which is a new mode that will replace X Rank and has regions that you can choose to play in, will be added alongside League as an update to the game, so no X Rank or League at launch. They'll also add paid DLC, and the silhouette here looks like Marina and Pearl, so maybe more lore about them. The new idols look interesting, but what's more interesting is the background around them, which looks similar to the story mode background, and that the masks they are wearing appear in the story mode art of the game, so they are probably related to the single player in some way. Also, you can skip the news, finally. The Splatfest seem to be a lot more Asian themed now, which is a welcome change since it makes everything look more interesting. You can also see an Octoling do the Macarena. Hooray, I guess. Maybe some of these dances will become emotes. Anyways, Splatfest now have 3 teams, very fitting for the game's theme, and there's a box with physics on the stage, similar to the cones in the Splatoon 2 testing range. Splatfest also now have a second half with the tricolor battles, which are all 3 teams against each other at once. The Tetras here seem to have control over when they can stop the Reef Slider and make it explode, similar to the Baller. There is also an Ultra Signal that spawns a gigantic sprinkler, which is called the Sprinkler of Doom. And I think it's breakable since it says that you need to protect it on the website. 10 times and 100 times battles will be back in addition to 333 times battles, and there is even a way you can trigger these battles. If you win 10 times battles, you can gain festival shells that increase your chances of getting 100 times and 333 times battles. But you lose these shells after playing a 100 times or a 333 times battle. And that's all the info I could find in the direct. There is more stuff on the Splatoon website and Twitter, like this new Chainsaw Spatana, which is a more powerful version of the Spatana, and the fact that you can transfer your Splatoon 2 save data to Splatoon 3, but I don't want to go into every little detail that those resources provide. So that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it.